Test, test, test. Sometimes there's a little bit of an issue. So it should be, you're tagged on it, so it should be on your page. You might have to allow it. Let's see here. All right. All right. Shanine's in the house. I just want to give a big shout out to Shanine because she's putting it out there every day. It's not easy to go through all the stuff that we're going through privately. So to do that openly is a big service to all of our brothers and sisters. Be brave, speak your truth, even if it hurts. Shanine, thank you for what you're doing. You guys haven't checked out the Freedom Network. You might want to do that. Let's see here. I'm just going to share this through the Soulogy Network real quick and allow people to come in since we didn't announce it. Let me know if you can hear me all right. And she's pregnant. That's right. Let's see. Okay, we're good here. Looks like we're all right. Sound okay? I heard your name and here you are. Let me see. Test, test, test. And she's pregnant. Yeah, we're good. Okay, we got 20 people in the house. All right now. So let me fill you in a little bit. Welcome everybody. Soul Speaks 5D. It's a special live on-site, spontaneous impromptu discussion with Rabia, who I just met yesterday, who's one of the principals over here at SouLSPEAKS Wellness Center. SouLSPEAKS Wellness Center. They were kind enough to let us plug in for a couple of nights. And we're going to do some collaborations today. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to do a show with Grace Solaris at 1 p.m. Eastern, which is in what, about an hour and a half. And then we're going to do around 3 o'clock. We're going to do another live here on site with Sasha, who we met here when we plugged in. And then tonight, 7 to 9 Eastern time, we're going to participate and broadcast a cosmic improv, which sounds like it's right up our alley. Let's see. And so I don't know what that's going to be about, but we've got Patrick McCormick and Rebecca Renee coming. I think we've got friends Blaine and Julie Devereaux are coming from Utah. They should be arriving any time. They're coming over. Had another note from somebody else, said they're headed to Florida. I don't know what's going on in Florida. Last night when we had the show with Patrick and Rebecca, they were talking about how there is a portal right now in the Caribbean to include Florida. A lot of people coming to Florida right now. Richie Sauter's here. I think he's on his way up from the Keys. We're going to have an event, I believe Sunday. Looks like Sunday, possibly Saturday and Sunday, but this will be down near Nokomis Beach, possibly Siesta Key Beach down there, but in Sarasota area. And then the following weekend on the 15th, we're going to have an event from noon to 5 o'clock with Jeremy McDonald and his group, The Lighthouse with Soulogy. It's going to be in Largo, Florida, which is in this area from 12 to 5. It's going to be a spontaneous gathering. We've got cameras, we got internet, we've got speakers, microphones, bring your guitars, bring your light language, bring your dance, bring your art, bring everything. And we're just going to let it roll like we always do. So without further ado, this is Rabia, and it's a pleasure to be here. Love is in the air.
Love is in the air, yeah.
And this is our talking stick. This is nice about the thing about doing it when the person's next to you. That way we're not talking over each other because there's always a lag. So we're just going to get started, do a typical Soul Speaks 5D. And we haven't even had a discussion really other than just greetings. But so let me ask you the famous Soul Speaks 5D question. When did you wake up?
When did I wake up? Wow. Well, everything is happening in the moment of now. So I woke up in this moment and each and every moment. To recreate the past, to recreate these memories, I started practicing Kundalini yoga about 10 years ago. And through that experience, I started to understand that I was more than just the physical body, that I am the energetic body. I'm a spiritual body. And in fact, I am even more than that. I become one with everything when I tune in and go into this space of higher consciousness. So it started about 10 years ago. It was really interesting. I was living in the DC area. And was focused primarily on Homeland Security and organized crime, working for the federal government. And what happened is I was during the daytime experiencing, you know, this negative mind space where consciousness was looking for things that could potentially go wrong. And then in the evenings, I would go to Kundalini yoga and have these transcended experiences of bliss. So the dichotomy was so great. There was so much separation in that experience, of polarity, but it led me to make decisions in my life that have brought me here, that gave me insight that there's different ways to live life. There's different creations that we can have. And so then I started the journey, you know, practicing Reiki and then moving on into sound healing and then beginning to channel higher states of consciousness.
Far out. That's far out. Now, you know, one of the hashtags we have here, of course, the first one's always I am soul. And the second one is the human is the hero, because nothing can happen unless the human aligns its free will with universal will. And this isn't about piousness or purity. This is about to thine own self be true. But we're talking to a beloved sister here who has at least one child. And so my question is, what's that like going through this process that we call ascension? What's that like going through, you know, with a child? And how old is your child?
So my child is 7 years old. She's actually here with me in the treatment room. It's an interesting question that you ask. So she's my inner child, or she is a reflection of me. Everyone is a reflection of our internal state, our internal being. And so having a child and recognizing that I am guiding this soul, and also that this soul is helping me to grow as well, and that she is a reflection of my inner child. So about the time that this interview was to start, I received a text message from her teacher saying that my daughter wanted to come home because her throat hurt, which was interesting timeline, because I also was feeling, oh, I'm getting ready to do an interview. I'm going to be expressing my authentic self. I'm going to be speaking before people. And my throat, like, you know, had that contraction. And so seeing my reflection, my inner child saying, oh, no, I'm here too, and I don't feel well. And it was just an interesting observation to know that she is speaking to me not only as, you know, a parent and a parent-child relationship, but when I look at things and I look at my multidimensional self, I recognize that all is one, all is me. And so there's a part of me that was holding on to this constriction. So as we're sitting here and doing this interview, she's actually in the treatment room with Alasa, getting magnet therapy and all kinds of yummy stuff that's going on. So my inner child is soothed through that process.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really important point too. I mean, we learn from those circles closest to us, and sometimes for many of us that can be a pretty tough road. You know, anyone that's been in relationships, we've all been through it with our family, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our exes. But there's a flip side to it, and I think that's what she just pointed out. There is a connectivity to all of us. We are the flower of life. And as we're making this transition and actually expanding the outer breadth of Mother Universe, these connections are real. So, you know, I mean, for her throat chakra to start to feel uncomfortable or to close up a little bit, and then for her inner child manifested, incarnated as her daughter, to actually have that happen at the same time, that is not a coincidence. The universe is working with us now. It's working with us now, even more than it ever has, because we've done the work. We've done at least enough work to be able to start to get some instant manifestation, instant reciprocation, instant signs and omens and signals and validations and synchronicities. And it's time for us to step up. You know, there's nothing, you know, I have a difficult time when people say you need to do this and you have to eat that. And, you know, everyone is stewarding their own soul ship. And I think the best way to get there, as we've said many times in Soulogy, is to share our truth and share our experience. I just want to say hello to Elizabeth Marie Donda right now. Her daughter just had surgery yesterday. I believe it was a thyroid surgery. And I just want to say, if everybody would just join me for this eternal moment. And let's just form a circle of life around Elizabeth's daughter and Elizabeth and her family, and project onto them our purest love and light, in courage and wisdom and peace and comfort. And so it is. Thank you. It is done. Okay. And so let's move on to the next subject now. Let me ask you a question. You're a practitioner, I already know without asking you. What do you do when you get rattled? What do you do when you get triggered? What do you do when the energies are just too much? Do you have a go-to process or modality that you utilize, or more than one?
Yes, I've got several tools that I utilize, primarily sound as an activator to help me to come into a more synchronized state of being. And I also speak to consciousness, source consciousness, my star consciousness, my inner child consciousness, ego consciousness, whatever part of consciousness wants to communicate with me to bring me insight about why am I being rattled? What can I do to care for myself? How can I clear this configuration in consciousness so that everything starts to lift and come into a higher state or a lighter state? So I do that through communicating with consciousness through the Akash. And then I also am a Kundalini yoga practitioner. And so that's something that I go back to, doing the breath work, doing the mantra, chanting. For example, this morning, as I was mentioning the throat, which it's interesting you mentioned Elizabeth and the thyroid, because that is also another manifestation of opening and clearing that space. But before you came in, I was chanting and I had my rattle. So using sound and using my voice to help open up that space to come into balance so that I can express myself authentically, so that I can let source creation flow through me in a way that is uplifting for all beings. So that is one way. But I think the biggest thing that I've had to learn is to slow down. To slow down and to be still and give myself the space that I need to really get it, to really understand what's going on at the root of all of it, so that everything can come back into a higher expression. Because if we don't take the time to be still and really tune in and listen, then the pattern that we're creating in life is going to come back. That illness that we have is going to remanifest. That partnership that, went awry is going to come back. It might be another character with the different, human suit on, but we're going to continue creating situations that rattle us or knock us off kilter until we get to the underlying cause, until we start to look at it and really learn to move that energy within our own consciousness and within the collective consciousness, so that we're not experiencing those triggers, we're not experiencing those patterns or those densities that keep us in a state of uncertainty.
Very well said. For somebody who's having trouble opening their throat chakra.
Oh, it's open now.
I know, I can tell. There's a lot to be said for that. My partner, when there's certain energies coming in, a lot of times she'll do mandalas, and she's doing a set of 9 right now, and there's a lot of blue. There's particularly a dark blue that seems to really be jumping out, with some silver, and a lot of other shades of blue, which is all throat chakra frequency. Now we had a whatever you want to call it, dimensional experience a few days ago, actually about a couple of weeks ago, and it was really interesting. It was a period of time, so it wasn't just one instant. So it was over like a day and a half. And in this period, I started channeling, which I don't normally do. It's usually the other way around. And what I was shown was, and as the individual goes, so goes the collective. So it's not about me or her. I think it's about all of us, or at least what energy is available to us. And the throat chakra was the centerpiece of it. It showed me that the lower chakras were now clear enough to flow as a chakra channel. I watched the root chakra expand into the earth, a lot like the crown chakra expands up into the cosmos. And so I saw a full-blown kind of a toroidal shape, kind of an hourglass shape. But the point is, when they showed me this through the channeling, they showed me the solar, the heart, and the throat, and it formed a triangle and started spinning and went up into the throat. And it showed that both the lower chakras and the higher chakras were now congruent, and that the element of the frequency of the throat chakra was so important because it contained both the non-physical and the physical. So if you think about it, when somebody's speaking or rapping or singing or whatever, or chanting or whatever, there is a physical aspect with the mouth and the tongue and the lips and all that, but there's also the non-physical, which is the sound vibration. So to me, it was a very strong message about what she's talking about and what she's displaying today, which is to speak our truth, no matter what it is, no matter what the subject is. To speak it in a balanced way and to share our experiences more than anything, because I believe that is where our highest activations, channelings, transmissions, and downloads come from having conversations like this. And the last thing I would say about the throat chakra is there has been quite a few people talking about this. I go to a post that Gingy and Reynolds wrote a couple of days ago talking about how a month ago she was having problems with her thyroid. And the doctors were sure that she had some kind of issue with it. Prior to this post 2-3 days ago, she released all of these things that were embedded in the somatic and the cellular and the muscular and so on, and went to the doctor the next day and was totally clear, and they couldn't understand it. So do not underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul. Do not underestimate the power of our transition and the reality that we are actually converting to a light body, which can only occur when our physical body lets go of all of these things. And it does have a physical embedment into our somatic, into our molecular, into our cellular, that has to be released. So be good to yourself, take it easy on yourself, and go easy on other people, because we're all going through the same thing. Now, tell us a little bit about your practitionership. What kind of work? You mentioned a little bit of it, but what do you do here? Do you do anything online, or do you do everything locally?
So I'm currently doing everything locally. I'm a sound practitioner, so I use different sound tools. I've got Himalayan therapy bowls, gongs, tuning forks, and crystal singing bowls, and other shamanic tools that I use. And that really is to open up energy and flow. And then I do that in group settings through shamanic journeying. And then I also do one-on-one sessions with individuals. And really what I'm looking at are distortions in their energy field, distortions in their torus, right? So we are this light body. We're our physical body, we're our mental body, we're our emotional body, spiritual body. We have different layers of our energy field. And so what I do is I go through and I scan and I look for areas of dissonance. I look for areas of constriction. I look for where the mental thought patterns are manifesting in the energy field. I look for where the traumas are, and I'm just scanning this field, and I start to work with that energy and I start to release it. So the way that I see the energy is it comes up as like geometries, or it comes up as heat. And so I'm looking and scanning the field for any of these pieces or places throughout all time, space, throughout all dimensions. And I help to bring back that essence from those energetic constrictions, from those energetic blocks. And I can do that one-on-one or in group settings. There's often themes that will come through. Like right now we're speaking about the throat. There's people with, you mentioned with the thyroid. My daughter's got the raspy throat. So really, like, as we heal ourselves, we're healing the collective. And so really I pay attention to the themes. All of creation is always speaking at all times. And if I pay attention to the themes and I stay tuned in, then the information from source consciousness is always coming. Through the practice of Akashic Records clearing, which is something that I've learned at SOULSPEAKS and something that is really part of the lifestyle that I live now, I'm able to ask questions to consciousness and figure out what's going on. So somebody may have a story about something that's happening in their life, but I'm really looking below the story to see what's going on there. So if I need to talk to their ego conscious, perhaps it's their astral self that wants to come through and share information. But what really happens is I start to receive like the bigger picture, the higher truth, the higher guidance that's happening. And then I can coach people to help to start to reprogram themselves out of certain energetic patterns. So perhaps somebody has the lack and scarcity pattern that they're running, and it's coming out through a story with their job, and they don't have enough energy, and they don't have enough money, and they don't have enough time. So rather than really go in and look at that story with them, what I want to do is start to flip the energy. Okay, where is this hanging out in their energy field? Is it on this timeline? Is it another timeline? Is it this lifetime, this dimension? Where is it? And then also start to do the abundance transmission. So allow them to sit at the foot, at the base of a tree, a large mango tree that's dripping with ripe fruit. Dripping with ripe fruit. There's so many mangoes hanging off of this tree, and allowing through that visualization and through my sound tools to really give them the experience of nature's abundance, because everything is here for us. Everything is provided for us. So really going into that transmission of it, and then allowing the energetic field, that toroidal field, to fill back up with the photonic light particles that were out in some other timeline where that lack and scarcity was rooted, allowing them to bring back that essence and then begin the transmission of the abundance, so that they're replenishing their field in a way that is going to serve them, in a way that they can reprogram themselves. So energetically, mentally, physically, they start to recognize that they have everything that they need. They are so supported. Everyone is here to support. The earth is here to support. Nature provides. They are loved. They are abundant. They are all these juicy things. And then life starts to shift, because we really do get to create our reality. And wherever we put our focus, that is going to grow. So if they focus on the lack or scarcity, I mean, it's like I had this image one time, and it was a hologram, right? And I was stepping into the fractal of this hologram, and I was trying to get to the root of my problem. My problem was this, and I needed to figure out the solution to my problem. And so I'm peeling back the layers of the onion of this hologram, and it just keeps going infinitely. I was peeling the layers, and consciousness said, Rabia, back up and shift this way and put yourself in this fractal of consciousness. Go through the layers of this dimension, the abundance, the love, the joy. Like, you already figured out, you already experienced that fractal of hurt. Like, stop peeling back the layers. They're infinite. It's a hologram. This whole entire reality is a hologram. Pull yourself up, look in a different space, create a different reality, create new sensation, receive the transmission of this level of consciousness, and you will live it, you will experience it, you will breathe it, you will love it, and then you will share and spread it out to all of creation, within the family, within the community, within the online community, right? We're all one. And when we come into that recognition that we are one, we have the power to transform all of creation. And it's a really, really, really beautiful gift we can give ourselves.
You're good. Your throat chakra's wide open now. But did you hear what she said? I mean, I remember when I woke up 8 years ago and I was getting the messages from consciousness, what you're calling consciousness, you, me, we, and it. And it kept telling me that the finite mind of man is super complicated, like overcomplicated, like, we make it complicated basically, but that the universal mind, infinite mind that we all contain and that we all are has a beautiful simplicity to it. And so I look at what she said and I say, it's that simple. Whatever we're focusing on is what we're gonna, there's no difference between now and before. In both cases, we were creating our reality. The only difference is before we were not awake. You were working for the government, looking for me probably. And in the old paradigm, I was in the corporate world, and I was on the treadmill, like the hamster in the wheel. And now we're awake. And now we're taking control and responsibility as co-creators and collaborators. And this is the order of the day as I see it. This is what we're trying to achieve at Soulogy, solTERRA, other people. There are people coming together in the flesh. They're being assisted and supported by the universal energy to make these things happen, because we've made different choices, and we can't forget how we got here. We got here by making a different choice. We got here by stopping the narrative that was running in our head, the dialogue, the programming, the implant that was running in our head, operated by the ego, and we started to listen to a higher voice. And that higher voice has not let us down. So don't let anything knock you off your square. Don't fall back into these old patterns and loops, because like she said earlier, they're just going to come back again. They may have a different face. It may be a different person. It may be a different job, home, location, but it's going to be the same thing until we have enough confidence, faith. The transitive verb, to trust and believe, that is an energetic force. That is a spiritual inertia that moves through the universal, unencumbered, unobstructed only by our own thoughts. And that's where I'd end this part of it is, let's be very careful of our thoughts. Let's be careful of the self-talk that we have. We can utilize this to both expand or to contract again. And we've had enough of that contraction. I have had enough of this shift. Okay. It's time to move it on down the road. And that's what we're doing. One of the reasons I love doing this show is talking to people and hearing about their experience, because I know when they tell their story, and I've seen about 3 or 4 comments already in this case, where it even though it's not the same exact thing, somebody hears somebody else's story and says, oh my God, I'm not the only one. I wasn't crazy. And you start to get more sanity and more faith and more validation into who you are, what you are, and what you're a part of. So with that, I want to ask you, a lot of people, as they wake up, have different faces of the universe that speak to them, divine essences, angels, archangels, galactic, important to you in your guidance.
Wow. So to play in that space, there is, I almost have to separate myself from consciousness, because I have this understanding or this resonance that I'm everything, right? There is one universal consciousness. And so as we play in the different dimensions, there is a separation that happens in order to do that. And I do like to play that way, although I trust that I am speaking with my higher consciousness, which is source consciousness, which is the one. And I do play in there is a specific frequency that likes to flow through me that has the imprint of Tara consciousness, the goddess, the Tibetan goddess of compassion. And she has a very specific tone that comes out. It's very poetic. And so I allow that to flow through me, and I enjoy the vibration, the sensory expression of having of that. But really, I just go to one. I just go to one. In that space, there is no separation. In that space, I feel most protected and held and pure and at the highest vibration. Because when I do split into different parts of consciousness, then you start to get into the realms of separation. And then there can also be noise, energetic dissonance with that too. You can get into separation. You can get into, dark entities. Something is working. I work with vibration, right? Vibration, energy, everything is energy, and energy is neutral. And so it's our mind that projects it as good or bad. So whether I'm, clearing an entity off of somebody, or I'm just working with the heat that's coming out of the chakra from the back of their solar plexus, I can neutralize myself and stay in a neutral space as I work with these energies by just knowing that it's energy, it's vibration, and I'm connected to the one.
Yeah, very well said again. Yeah, and I think about what somebody told me one time, that, and I love what she said about the association or over-identification with essences or faces of the universe. I think, many people have been escorted in by different aspects of the universe, which in reality are just the same thing. But, because of where we might stand in our job, for me, for instance, it first came in was Yeshua, and in a 6 ascended masters. But these were faces of the universe that I could understand, that wouldn't fry my brain. I wasn't ready to consider galactics. I wasn't ready to consider other aspects of the universe, known or unknown to me. But as time went on, like many other people that have come on the show, these things became embodied within me, and so it all went to one voice. And that's pretty much how it's going to go for everybody, I believe, until we start to see the true God, goddess in each and every one of us as we approach each other, whether it be online through messaging or whether it be in person. We are looking at mirrors of each other. Not only does that mean, and we've learned this very well, there's something in this person that's making me uncomfortable. So what is it in myself that I'm not seeing? That's a beautiful gift. But the other side of it is to be able to walk around in a balanced state and see the God, goddess in everyone else, and understand that all of our intentions really at the core are the same. Nobody wants to poo on anybody. Everybody wants to get to the same place. And everybody, including me, has been in a hurry. But I'm ready to slow it down, like she said. I'm ready to enjoy each moment by moment, because we're not going to have this chance again. And you only get one chance to do it right the first time. We are here as universal soldiers. We are here expanding the outer breath of Mother Creation. And we are doing that by utilizing the templates and blueprints that we've been given, that we walked into this incarnation with. And now we're writing the new good book. We're writing the new blueprint, the new template. We are showing the universe how far we can take it. So it's time to get jiggy with it and belly up to the bar, belly up to the universal bar, put on the jukebox, put on some great music, and start to let this energy flow through the movement of our energetics. It's so important, the vibrations, the sounds, the frequency, the movement, it's all the same thing. And that's what's so great about being able to do this kind of stuff online, because you have the visual and you have the audible and you have, the colors and the frequencies, and everything comes through. And it, to me, Soulogy and Todd and Rabia and everyone is a small mirror of the universe, which to me is not afraid of anything, is not afraid to step into any environment or any situation or confront any person or meet any person, because we are adding frequencies to an ever-expanding vibration. This is what the universe is, and this is what we are. And I'm going to hand this over to you in a minute. Here you go. Go ahead.
So as you were speaking, I just wanted to share a visualization that came to me. I lead shamanic sound journeys here at SOULSPEAKS. Some of them are posted online. And what happens is that during these journeys, we embody different parts of consciousness. And so I do like to play with star consciousness, my galactic self. And so with the last journey that we went on, we calibrated ourselves into that frequency so that we could merge with that beingness. And we were doing healing exercise on the earth, and it was realizing that everything that we seek is within. All of the healing that we receive, it's us healing us. And being able to go into that galactic perspective and not just be the channel receiving from, the Arcturian self, but actually becoming the Arcturian self and saying, oh, this is what I do from this level of consciousness. This is how I direct the energy. This is how I let it fractal out of my heart center. These are the energetic codes that I'm sending to wash the planet. These are the activations in the DNA that we're ready for right now. So going in and playing through sound, we're able to trance and access these different states of consciousness, these altered states of consciousness that will give us the experience of our multidimensional self. And so that's something we do on Tuesdays with the gong and with the bulls, is open that space to travel the waves of sound, travel the fractals of consciousness, and really allow that which wants to be open to be revealed to us. And another thing that is really important is that life is live. That's why I love so much that you do live shows and it's not edited, pre-recorded, and then perfected and shot, because life is live. And when we really trust that we are the one and we are driving the ship and we are creating all of this, then we step into that space and we drive from a space of like, you know what, I'm going to give it everything. I'm going to show up for myself. I'm going to be balanced. I'm going to do the work, energetically illuminate myself and create from that space. And it's live. It's guided moment to moment. There's no script to life. There really isn't. And when we try to create a script for life, or we try to fit it into a certain way, that's when we start to become unstable, is because maybe that's not really in alignment. Maybe our mind thinks that is alignment, but our soul essence is really what wants to be aligned. And so there's no script to following your soul essence. And that's what's the beautiful experience of using sound, is that we get to touch into these different parts of our soul essence and take a journey and receive the keys, receive the codes, receive the activations from self to self, because we love ourselves so much in the non-physical. The non-physical part of you loves you so much that everything is taken care of. Everything is set up. You are so supported. You are so loved. Just allow yourself to be open to receive it and watch the miracles unfold before you.
You're good. I got thrown off my square just for a second. Yeah, I love what she said, because this was I was actually going to do a spirit walk this morning on this subject, but I ran out of time. And what it came to me this morning was gratitude. First of all, we're all chasing abundance, for lack of a better way to describe it. There is no chase to it. It's a flow. It's a flow. Abundance is a flow. Abundance is alignment. Now, how do we get there, or how do we not get there? I mean, first of all, gratitude. I'm traveling with my partner through the continental United States. We have no plan. It's like, driving a car and taking your hands off the steering wheel. And it's not always easy, and it hasn't been easy. We go through the same pressures and the same stresses and the same alignments and the same kicks in the ass that everybody else does from the universe. When we throw the absolutes down, as she was talking about, when we say, oh, I'm okay, everything's one, except for this has to be this way and this has to be that way. The universe does love us unconditionally. We are on a special mission, and it's not going to take any prisoners, and it's not going to babysit us. It is an advocate for us, and we're an advocate for each other by the example that we have. So gratitude, sharing. We all have gifts. Even if we don't think of ourselves as well as we should, we're getting there, and we're getting there through fellowship, and through sharing. And when we share our gifts, we are given back immediately in this climate now. So that's a really important thing to me, is to share. What do I have to offer? If I use myself as an example, or Soulogy as an example, we have a platform. My job, my part of the mission, my piece of the puzzle is to create this platform so people can be seen, so their frequency can be, and their codes can be received by other people, because it works in reverse as well. Even though it may not be someone in the crowd that's watching this now on the live or the replay, directly speaking back to this beloved sister, when she puts something out and they receive it, it lights up their soul, and it goes right back to her through the etherics, through the non-physical. So I would just, say that, let's make sure that we take a look around every time we get thrown off a little bit, and see what we have, see what we've been given. Because first and foremost, we've been given this opportunity to expand the universe in the most dense realm probably that's ever been created. We've talked to a lot of people like Franco Di Nicola and a few other people, I won't get into all the names, that have talked about recollections from other planets, from their other incarnations in other planets and other universes. This is a very unique situation here on Mother Earth. It's a very dense realm. It has financial structures. It has a lot of different structures. We are not divorcing ourselves from anything here. The universe cannot divorce itself from anything. We are transformers. We are transforming this realm into possibly the highest dimension this universe has ever seen, certainly covering more ground than this universe has ever seen. And it's our very thoughts that make this happen. How do we know that what we think isn't exactly what's going to happen? I think we have enough evidence to at least say that that is a very viable argument. And I just want to tell everybody, I want to thank you for all your love and support and contributions. I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for volunteering to come down here, because each and every one of us did. And let me tell you, there's some volunteers that haven't made it to the earth yet, because for whatever reason, we put in the time. And the universe, we know one thing about universal law: you don't get anything for free. You don't skip any steps. If you're given a certain opportunity, it's because you earned it. And we all earned it together. Now we're all starting to come together. We're all starting to coalesce and congeal. And this soul vibration is expanding by these seemingly menial efforts, by these seemingly small human beings that are actually giants in this universe. The entire universe is watching us. They're on the edge of their seat saying, how far are they going to take it? Well, let's show them. Let's show them. Do you want to do any type of a sound healing or sound vibration or anything?
Yes, I would like to touch quickly on the point about abundance and transmission of that. Everything is energy. So within our ancestral lineages, we have these energetic distortions within consciousness. So say we had a parent or a grandparent or a close relative or somebody in our ancestral lineage who lived during the Depression. And so they got this lack or scarcity imprint within their consciousness, within their cellular memory. And that has then trickled down to where we are. And so we are living with the subconscious programming that existed even before, we were actively involved in, abundance or lack. And so something that we can do is help to break that distortion out of the ancestral lineage and claim back the essence from that experience so that it's no longer an imprint and it's no longer fractaling out into our current creation. And abundance is a huge one that I find a lot of people are suffering with. And so because everything is energy, there are ways that we can retrain the mind, retrain the subconscious mind so that it sees the abundance that's all around us. So earlier I mentioned the mango tree, but also like if you eat a banana and you see the seeds, right? All the way down the center of the banana, those are all individual banana trees. And each of those banana trees can have hundreds of bananas at a time. And so recognizing that that is our divine blueprint. Abundance is our divine blueprint. It's the distortion in consciousness that happened through things like the depression. Perhaps, we know somebody who had a minimum wage job and they had trouble making ends meet. And so it's this expectation, this cycle within the subconscious that's telling us that there's not enough. So it's like really going in and finding where that energetic distortion is, when the timeline it is, and whether it's going back and having those memories resurface from when you were a child, or the things that your parents used to say, and starting to shift that into a new memory, right? So rather than looking at those spaces and places and saying like, wow, we didn't have enough, that was really hard. Transferring it and saying, you know what, I really understand the importance of gratitude now because I know what it's like to be without. And thank you. Thank you, mom and dad. Thank you, grandparents. Thank you, depression, for showing me what it's like to be able to live as a minimalist, to be able to do without, to be able to leave a light footprint on this earth, right? To be able to support myself in each and every, even when I know that, there are thought entities or thought forms that aren't supporting that, knowing that I can break that. So shifting consciousness and coming into that space of recognition that this is actually serving you. What's on the other side of that coin? What's on the other side of that experience that can help you to transform into your most abundant self? So allowing that to be the reality and really working with the energy, working with the timelines, folding back in that soul essence, allowing it to reconfigure into higher expressions of consciousness. So we really do know how much we are worth, how much abundance is there for us. And it's transforming to really go in and do that work.
Man, she's good. We're going to have to take her with us. I love what she said too, because it's high time, I think, and these are just my opinions coming from me, but it's high time, I think, that we get past the cliches. There's a lot of cliches that came out of the quote unquote New Age movement and the light worker movement. I'm not real comfortable with labels, because we are all human hybrid, divine, eternal souls, period. We're soul warriors, universal soldiers. But, it's so important to me, for myself, as I keep myself in check, to get past the cliches now. Okay. Oneness. What is oneness? Okay. Oneness is oneness. There's either separation or oneness. There is no in between. I can't have one foot in separation and be talking about oneness. Oneness is oneness. If there's any separation in this world from the center of the universe, which is me, and this is me talking to me, then I am the separation. If somebody comes at me and makes me uncomfortable and I want to put them at arm's length or disassociate or say that I'm not like them, I cannot say I am that. I am the I am that, but I'm not that. And I'm not that. I am the root of separation. But the other side of the coin, as she talked about, is I am oneness. And I can be that by bringing into alignment my physical existence. And she talked about the different bodies, and we talked about this on the previous two shows, the transmissions Morgan and I had. There's 12 bodies. Okay, now there's other schools of thought, but in the reference book that we're looking at, that she's had for years, there were 12 bodies, and she noticed, after having this book for so many years, that the one body that wasn't mentioned was the physical body. So there was actually 13. This is the new 12. We've gone past the first 12. Everybody knows how important the 12 is in our journey. We are now creating the new 12, the expanded 12, the expanded blueprint, the expanded good book, the expanded template. We are the Mother Marys, the Magdalenes, the Yeshuas, the Kuan Yins. When we get down the road, okay, and I know there's no linear, and aspects of us are in another incarnation millennia from now, They're going to pull from the Rabias. They're going to pull from the Morgans. They're going to pull from the Shanines. They're going to pull from the Todds. They're going to pull from them just like we pull from the Archangel Michael consciousness or the Yeshua consciousness or the Kuan Yin consciousness. We are the real deal here, and we're stepping into our power now. The mainstream media is not going to talk about it. The global stage is going to want to take your attention. This is, if you think you're a Republican, let me say this really loud. If you think you're a Republican, if you think you're a Trump supporter, if you think you're not a Trump supporter, if you think you're a Democrat, if you think you're any of those things, you are the separation. I am the separation. We are all one and the same. The only thing that we can really look at that can create any separation, and it's for the benefit of moving us from duality to Trinity, is the feminine and the masculine, and we all contain it within us. So each time we come across a situation or a person, just remember, it is our personal responsibility. We cannot blame anyone. We cannot make excuses, and we cannot externalize anything, not to get more love that we might think we can gain, and not to create more separation through our dislikes and that type of thing. So I think this is very, very powerful. I love these spontaneous things, and I'm feeling that you need to bring some sound in.
Yes, I would love to bring some
So
sound.
telepathy is big now.
So we worked with the throat. Our greatest healing instrument is actually our voice. It's our most powerful tuning fork. It helps to align everything back into its highest, most beautiful expression. So if you feel a little shy with using your voice, that's okay. Just lean into it. Ask yourself those questions. Go out into nature when you're by yourself, completely alone, and start to tone. Use the voice. Open up that expression, getting the energy flowing. Because when we have energetic constriction in one part of our body, then it influences the entire body. So we're just going to go and do a little bit of sounding exercise. I would like everybody to come into a seated position or a comfortable position, elongating the spine, allowing the crown of the head to rise up toward the heavens, allowing the root to open, connecting with the heartbeat of the earth, inviting all chakras to open and spin in their highest, most beautiful expression. All layers of the light body illuminated, activated, vibrant. Any holes or tears within that torus field are now repaired, filling in the back of the torus, the lower portion of the torus with photonic light particles, illuminating, activating throughout all time, space. I am that I am. I am love. I am peace. I am harmony. I am whole. I am healed. I am one with source consciousness. Oh, I, oh, oh, I, oh, oh, I, oh. Oh, everything is open. Everything is here to support you, to nourish you, to uplift you. Allow yourself to receive this love, this abundance, the energy of source throughout your field. Oh, oh, oh,
If you can't feel that, you're not alive. And every one of us is. Every one of us is. I almost went into a little bit of what I do when I'm alone. Whenever I'm, but maybe tonight at the 7 to 9 tonight. If you're anywhere in the Tampa, Orlando, Clearwater, Sarasota area, 7 to 9 p.m. tonight Eastern here at SOULSPEAKS Wellness Center. We're going to have a cosmic improv. I have no idea what that means, but I like the word improv.
Improv, and it's cosmic. How cool.
So we got Patrick McCormick's going to come over. We did a show here last night. He channels Cartron and has since 1994. His beloved partner, Rebecca Renee, who's really tuned in with angels, did an incredible healing last night. We got some friends coming in from Utah, and I would just put the word out there, tag anybody who lives in this area. Let's see how many people we can get over here. Let's shock ourselves and shock the world and shock the community and see how much light we can put out there, and we can broadcast and transmit out there. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I had no idea. I've got chills. Somebody said chills, but I got chills all over me. And inside, I'm like burning up. On the outside, I've got chills. Yeah. But what a beautiful, beloved sister. And I am so, I am so grateful to be here today. I wouldn't change places. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I don't care. I'm in tune with my multidimensionality. I do a little astral like everybody does, whatever. I am here in this incarnation as a multidimensional, conscious, human hybrid soul that is showing this universe with my brothers and sisters how to get it done and how far we can take it, and setting an example and creating a new template so that incarnations and aspects of ourselves can pick up this ball somewhere down the line and do it again, And it's such a incredible space that we've created. We've all done the work. We've gotten to this point. It's no time to turn back now. Let's keep on moving. Stand tall. Peace, power, protection. Big love to everybody from Soulogy.One, from Rabia. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I also just wanted to take a moment and invite you all, if you are interested in exploring sound as a healing modality, I do facilitate trainings. I've got one coming up in February. We'll learn the basics of using gongs, tuning forks, and everything and our voices for healing. So that's an introductory course. We also have a really amazing assortment of things offered here at solTERRA. So if you're interested in going deeper, we would love to play with you. And if you are from out of state, we can help with some housing, facilitate some of that too. So we really just want to connect and raise the consciousness of all of humanity. That's what we're here for. So come play, bliss out, have fun. We'd love to have you. We'd love to share it with you. Thank you.
Well, that's beautiful. You know what? It's all about initiating things. It's all about our intentions, the universal energy supporting us now. You know what? We don't know what we're going to do at Soulogy in a moment-by-moment basis, but we just put our foot out there as we watch our brothers and sisters do the same thing, and then the universe reciprocates. And now we're in a space of instant manifestation, all of us. So guard your thoughts. Keep your own counsel. To thine own self be true. And you know what? It's about the spontaneous, intuitive, creative, imaginative, and depending on what we're doing or talking about, the courageous. We are soul. I am soul. You are soul. Peace out from solTERRA Wellness Center. We'll see you. We got Grace Solaris coming on in 35 minutes. We got 2 hours after that, a beautiful young lady named Sasha here. We'll do another live from here. And then tonight, 7 to 9 Eastern time, we're going to do the Cosmic Improv. Okay? Peace out. Thank you for coming in.